Hello dreamers, happy Saturday. I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend so far. Yesterday we took a look at terraforming in DreamWorld. We specifically looked at an idea that you could use to make farms in the sky. We farmed grass material and used that to actually construct a floating island, above my base, which allowed me to place wheat, berries, a bunch of food farm, and tree farm in a place that only I could access by flying up there. By the way, the crops of that farm have now completely grown, so I have farmable wheat, berries, waxroot, and trees up there ready to be farmed. Today, though, we're going to be taking a look at more player builds that have been added to the lands of DreamWorld. Before we get into that, though, a few things I want to cover. A usual reminder that if you don't already have DreamWorld or you haven't tried it out yet, head down to the description. There's going to be a link to DreamWorld's website. There, you can get information about downloading our free trial. And if you like what you play in the free trial and like what you see in this video, you can feel free to buy DreamWorld for yourself. Another good thing about trying the free trial, though, is that you'll be able to enter DreamWorld's Halloween raffle. Between October 24th and the 29th, every player that completes the free trial for DreamWorld will be eligible to join the raffle. We'll be giving away 1st to 5th place prizes, and there will also be a building competition accompanied to this raffle giveaway for another chance to win. So if that interests you, feel free to get the free trial at the website. Again, link in the description below. Okay though, let's do it. Let's get into DreamWorld and check out some new player builds. Before we start looking at the player builds, though, there's a few things I want to cover regarding some stuff that's been recently added to DreamWorld. In preparation for Halloween, a couple features have been, added or improved. First things first, pumpkins have been added around the lands of DreamWorld. As you roam, you'll find many pumpkins, around little pumpkin patches around, and you'll be able to farm these using an axe. As you go around farming pumpkins, you can get a few different materials from actually farming them. There's pumpkin pulp, there's candy corns, and actual pumpkin seeds so you can replant the pumpkins. I myself have made sure to farm lots and lots of these pumpkins all across the biomes as I looked for player builds. There's two kinds of pumpkins. There's the regular orange ones and then the white ones, which are a little bit bigger and give you a little bit more farm. What can you do with these pumpkins though? Well, if you collect enough pumpkin pulp, you can combine that pumpkin pulp with bread and honeycombs to make a new food item, pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie has been added to the cooking station for you to craft now. A reminder that farmed wheat gives you bread, and to get honeycombs, you have to actually farm the beehives around DreamWorld. You can find these in the forest as well as the desert. I had to get some extra myself to make pumpkin pie. Now at nighttime, a new enemy has been added. These are the Anubis mummies will now be roaming at night, which are going to present a whole new threat as you navigate the lands at night. So keep an eye out for these Anubis mummies and make sure to have a weapon on handy when you roam at night. In terms of items, these enemies drop animal bones and candy corn for the most part. At the floating island of Elysium, lots of pumpkins and jack-o'-lantern decorations have been added, as well as many candles all throughout, the skies of the city. Even the tower with the Airstream has been updated. Now, also added on the island on the outskirts of the city is a new mini-boss. You'll find this guy roaming around and you can attack him solo or with your friends. I decided to attack him solo and it turned out not so bad for me, actually. When you do beat him, we can see some of the things he drops. There's this thick green ectoplasm, and some of the other things I got were a special Halloween record, some candy corn, and a wooden shield, and even a new building scroll. And lastly, the nighttime sky has been changed in DreamWorld to now be a Halloween orange. I got a really good view of this up in the city of Elysium. But that's all the changes I want to talk about that came with last Friday's update. Now let's start looking at some builds. Our first build that we're going to go over is this build found on the island of Elysium. It's built by an unknown player, and it utilizes a lot of the default skins for the build pieces, as well as some golden build pieces using gold. We can see a tower and, a main base area, so let's check both of them out. Upon entering the base, we get this nice entrance hall with the crafting bench on one side and a little seating area on the other side. Passing by the table and chairs, we come to this hallway where it leads to the tower side. At the base of the tower is this nice little open gazebo area. I gotta say, I personally love open concept builds. And now as we go up the stairs of the tower, we get a nice glow from a torch up here. I think the reddish brown light works really well here. I'm not quite sure which resource is being used for the torch here, but I like how the light reflects off the tower, and I also love the views up here at this tower. If we head back to the main hall of the main building, we'll go up the staircase to the second floor. Up here, we have another patio area where we can see out across the island, see the city, as well as see other sites. It's nice and open to give you really great views. That's our first build though. Really good job to the builder. I like the construction here, I love the creativity, and I like the openness. For the second build, we don't have to go too far. Just outside the city of Elysium, nestled between, the trees of the island, we can find this build, made by another unknown builder. We can see both birch and conifer wood being used here. We'll do a quick flyby real quick, just so we can get a better look at this build. Being in the trees makes it a little bit hard to see. Going inside, we can see polished conifer floors, my favorite type of wood, mixed with birchwood walls. And you know what? I think it works great. And then the floor on the second floor is polished oak wood. Funny enough, I did the same thing with the floors on my build. What I really love about this build is that it actually kind of incorporates the trees of the forest into it. You can see that the interior of the build is a lot more open to actually compensate for the fact that the trees are inside of it. So not only is the build really well done, it's also nature friendly. And lastly, for the roof, we have polished conifer again. And that's the build. Really good use of materials here. Very well constructed, very well done. The build comes together really, really well. Moving on to the desert biome though, we find our third build that I actually found a couple videos ago. Kaz's Plateau Palace is nestled on the top of one of these desert plateaus. It's a nice open concept build with a lot of really great views. We have these Roman pillars out front, and we're even greeted by some shiny raw gold pillars. Heading inside of the palace, we see an open area with some seating on both ends of the build. This build might not be completely done, but what's here is still really cool. We have some tables and chairs with some lighting on top for this one seating area, as well as a nice dining table sitting area over on this end. Before we explore more, I'll make sure to light the reliquary for some dream essence. Heading to the back of the build, we get a nice little arch on the roof, as well as kind of a back patio area. And then at the bottom of the hill, we see a nice little stone wall, which looks like it's still under construction. Perhaps some defensive walls are going to be coming to this build in the future. Around the palace, we can also find these little gazebo builds, which might have more stuff going on with them in the future. Now heading up to the second floor of the palace, by the way, lots of gold used here, love the pillars. We can see what looks like the beginnings of almost a throne room, with some golden ceilings and golden pillars and a nice little banner on the wall, and some really good mood lighting. And now if we head up the tower besides the palace room, we'll find a bedchamber area, which might still be under construction, but I love how it looks already. I just love open concept builds. It makes the build feel more breathable and more in tune with the environment around it, And lastly, if we follow this staircase down the plateau, we'll see a lot of desert sand build pieces and a little lookout area that kind of blends in perfectly with the plateau itself. We get some great views over here too. And there's also a little gazebo area here, which might have more added to it in the future. But there you go, that is Kaz's Plateau Palace. Really great job on the build here. It may or may not be done, but what's here, I love. On the outskirts of the desert near the forest, we find our next build. This build is made by Optic right near a pond area too. Optic's build right by a pond really caught my eye because it uses so many different colors and build pieces and textures. It was just eye-popping. Every time I passed this build, I always had to kind of admire it. So here we go, let's check it out. For the front patio, we see what might be shore mud, or maybe even some gravel or stone or something. Whatever resource is used here, I think it works great, especially putting it right on the shoreline. We also see some ornate railings on the stairs here. My favorite part of the exterior though is this little makeshift pond that was created that has this purple lighting which reflects amazingly off of the building assets around it. It almost looks like a little bit of a fish pond, and I kind of like that about this. It's just so well constructed. I also have to take a second to admire this green lighting. Whatever torches are used here, thumbs up from me. This is a really unique house, a really good job here. Our next build will be also in the desert. This build is perfectly illuminated under the night sky. That's actually how I found it. Zaydri's Desert Base does a great job of using exterior and interior mood lighting to really stand out at nighttime, but even in the light, it'll still stand out. Walking up the front stone steps, we'll finish this scavenger hunt. If we look around the edges of the build, we can see this mountain stone fencing combined with pink dead desert wood pieces. The color palette on this build is phenomenal. I love the resources that were used and mixed together here. It reminds me of an old European stone castle, and I just like the vibe. Now, if we look at the actual base in the center, the lighting combined with the color palette on the build pieces, I think is perfection. In fact, for my next build, I want to use these exact resources. I love the look here. And that is mainly it for the exterior of the build. It's a small build, but it packs a punch. It is very good to look at, very well constructed. I love this build. Great job. And now for our last build today, it is going to be a build that I also found in the desert. I found this build interesting because it actually seemed heavily inspired by these skeleton crypts that you'll find throughout the desert. Those crypts allow you to farm skeletons where you can get bones and sinew. This is the Crypt of Lost Souls by Gemini. It appears to be constructed with a lot of resources farmed in the desert itself. And there's also this long winding staircase that leads down to a chamber, so of course we gotta follow it. Heading down to the bottom chamber, it appears the crypt is sealed for today, so we won't be able to see it. However, this is a really cool take on one of the enemy structures that you can find in the game. But there we have it. Those are the player builds that we're going to be checking out for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you see in today's video and you want to see future videos similar to it, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you like what you saw in today's video, feel free to give DreamWorld a try for yourself. We're always looking for more player builds to take a look at, so feel free to hop in game and build something creative. You can find more info about playing DreamWorld in the description below, which will have a link to the website. Reminder that playing the free trial will allow you to enter the Halloween raffle giveaway. And as usual, have an amazing day, dreamers. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.